Some wildflower. Some zinnia. Black-eyed Susan. Some marigolds. This is my bowl of flowers. Flower ball. I'm gonna scatter it. Let's see. Go like this. Break up the flower head a little. Release those seeds. Some flowers are easier to do than others. These black-eyed Susans are a bit tricky. Go ahead, stay together. Marigolds come apart real nice. So last year, spread some marigold, zinnias, and black-eyed Susans around. That was a zinnia. Marigolds took half decently, you know, like there's a couple of them right over here. It's a bit too early. Not even spring. A bit too early to know if they've reseeded, you know. Been looking for little baby marigolds popping their heads up, but they haven't popped their heads up yet. Zinnias didn't take as well. It'd be cool if they sprout, you know. If last year's I'd left it to reseed, just let their seeds fall and grow as they will. It'd be nice if they reseeded and they sprout up, but in case they haven't, I'm casting a new set of seeds over here. I think I'm gonna do it all along that right there. The perimeter kind of barrier, driveway berm. That's like a nice little 50-foot stretch of berm to cover. Had some nice white flowers last year. Dominant flower. Very nice flower. You know, just kind of, I thought it was stinging nettle. It looked kind of like stinging nettle, but it wasn't. It was a nice, beautiful white flower. It was kind of a monoculture. Not that I don't like the white flower, it's that I would like to have other things mixed in with the white flower. The white flowers did some good reseeding. So, I got a lot of seeds, not just flower seeds. And now's the time to spread them, because they'll just keep going, losing their germination ability. Well, these black-eyed Susan's heads are just, you gotta fight them. It's a good thing I got a lot of them. So I could just toss the whole head. You know, and something in that head will sprout, I'm sure. It's like, the rest of it will just be a sponge, keeping those good seeds wet out of the sun. I got a couple bags of these, a lot of them, black-eyed Susan heads. So, it smells beautiful. Rubbing these heads to break them. I'm going to spread these around yonder. And then spread a bunch of other seeds around in this video. This video will be spring 2020 spring seed planting. So I'm going to start with some echinaceas. These are good for, I'm going to start back here. Good for respiratory infections, urinary, the stuff above ground, the above ground parts of the echinacea. The stems, leaves, flowers, not the leaves. And then for slow healing wounds. That's what the wounds part was. Slow healing wounds. You can apply it to the wound. So that's a good layer over there. So I scattered these around my flower beds last year. And none of them took. Then it was a dry spring. So that could have been why. Could be that maybe these are just too old or too dry. Something. You never know. These are some nice lentils. Pretty low germination rate when you scatter it on the surface. But you know, it's kind of a, I'm not going to be here to monitor it, water it, etc. So really it's just see if it'll take, and maybe it'll make some new seed pods to make some fresh seeds. Cleaning off the ones that had spilled out with my hand. Mainstream media is just messed up. Just all propaganda. It's kind of like a, what do you call it? They're just evil, you know. Mainstream media and Democrats, liberals in general. Trying to impeach Trump for starters, no crimes, you know, abuse of power and obstruction of Congress, which is just made up stuff. Well, they really need to start respecting the election. It's been 3 years of them just constantly making up stuff. You know, this coronavirus is just one more of these made up things. You know, when you look at the abuse of power, that's Congress right there. That's the House of Representatives run by the Democrats that are abusing their power. They're a whistleblower. You know, they changed the whistleblower laws like 3 days before, you know, they made the guy's thing official. You know, that's abuse of power right there. Changing the law so you can push your propaganda. You know, that's about as much abuse of power as it gets. You know, that's the Democrats right there. obstructing Congress. They were sitting on the USMCA for what, a year? You know, a beautiful trade deal. The best trade deal, you know, I guess, as some people say it, but a great trade deal. Sitting on it for a year. That's obstructing it. You know, obstruction of Congress right there. And they have the nerve to make up these things, you know. They all ought to be impeached and thrown in prison. The Democrats. Nancy Pelosi and attaching $1 billion of abortion funding to the coronavirus. It's like, really? You know, let's talk about politicizing, you know. And I say abortion funding, but it's baby murder is what it is. $1 billion of murdering babies. You know, you start putting things in the proper light, you know, it's kind of, you know, it seems obvious that they ought to be locked up. And I could end up doing a bit of like Lot's wife. You know, it's kind of I got a Lot situation going on right here, where it's kind of get out of the city because I'm going to burn that city down. You know, and don't turn around and look back. You know, Lot's like dragging his feet. You know, finally him and his wife leave. You know, and his daughters. You know, finally they leave. They're still so messed up that they don't want to take it seriously. They're a messed up family. Just, you know, they're about liberal, pretty much. You know, but I guess they're just the best out of the liberals. Oh, but she turns around, gets turned to stone. You know, could be something like that. You know, going to Nashville, kind of like, you know, just society in the general is just so messed up. You know, it's like people definitely overvalue this life. You know, this life is just the beginning. You know, and they're like, gotta get all mine in the beginning, and they do crazy liberal, Satanistic things. Probably. Oh, yesterday was Friday the 13th in Washington D.C. There's probably a lot of witch covens doing seances. You know, like, you know, hoping that whatever that president was, of Brazil, hoping that he gave it to Trump or something, you know. And then in Seattle, probably got a lot of after-school Satan clubs doing the same seances, because they're all just messed up. Starting to get grasshoppers. A little baby grasshopper right there. It's actually a pretty bigger one. Usually it's these little pygmy guys this early. No, last year it was. Yes, this is 2 years on. I think it was probably maybe a few weeks ago, 2 years ago, you know, 2 years and 2 weeks, something like that. That's when I actually got this property. Spent a year cutting down trees and year laying cinder block, and then a few months doing actual constructions. That's some mung beans. Yeah, it's like maybe it's doing a Lot's wife, you know, heading back to the city. But it doesn't feel that way. It feels like it's right in line with what I should be doing. And it's like coronavirus or whatever, you know, it's kind of your time comes, it comes. Kind of, and being born, you're committed to death. And there's a lot worse ways of dying than a flu and pneumonia. And it's kind of like death is nothing compared to the eternity afterwards. So these, granted, it's got that cast the judgment, punishment, and all that. You know, we want to live outside of the role, the place, and the roles, and all that we're meant to be in. You know, kind of like me planting mung beans here. Kind of, I shouldn't be doing it, you know. Basically, when we started farming, you know, way back in the Stone Age, we started breaking away from, you know, living in harmony with, you know, living in the state that we were meant to be living in, you know, as hunter-gatherers. You know, when you're a hunter-gatherer, go around do the thing, you know. But when you start doing crops, you know, it's kind of, now you have a commodity, you know, now you're going to want to trade it with someone else. Now you're going to want to spend too much time growing it and harvesting it and processing it and all that, you know. Now you're putting value instead of on, you know, your spouse and your children and your parents, you know, like your family or immediate, you know, village. You know, village could be like 100 people. Instead of putting value on that, spending time on those, spending it on mung beans. So it's kind of like, I'm not ready to start farming, and in general, I'm going to keep on that path. But, you know, if things get to the point where it's like, yeah, it's time to leave society, you know, like, more or less permanently, then I'll just take up the hunting gathering, which is actually what I should be doing, you know, like all of this farming, well, it's not, I haven't even gotten to the farming part yet, you know, not really, you know, like I wouldn't really call doing this farming. I guess the scary thing is I scattered out my mung bean tag. Wait, no, I'm gonna save the tail end of all of my things, just in case I do end up wanting them in the future. I should be able to get like some mung beans in the city, you know, like if I need them. But if I can't, at least I'll have some out here, you know. With that right there, you can kind of start up a whole farming bit. So I mean, that half was mung beans, a little bit down there. This half is going to be soybeans. Mung beans, I really don't know why people eat them. You eat them for sprouts. I think that's it. I don't know if you actually make things with them other than you just sprout them and eat them as sprouts. I don't know. But, you know, doing like bean sprouts on a sandwich might be good. Or in a burrito or something. So, might as well have them. They should be nitrogen fixers, which is kind of the main thing. It's a food source and it's a nitrogen fixer. Soybeans are just awesome for protein. Great animal fodder. Granted, you have to roast them to unlock most of that protein. A lot of the protein goes undigested when you're using it as an animal fodder. I'm guessing, you know, when people cook them, it unlocks most of that protein. Well, not most of the protein, but like another, I don't know, it's just wild, you know, kind of throwing it out there, 5% of your daily value, you know, like it's an additional 5% will get unlocked. Maybe like 25% raw, 30% cooked, you know, the protein. Something like that. It's great either way. It's great, raw or cooked. But you get, you know, that's up being a fair amount, you know. Considering that it might be like 40 pounds of grass to get that 5% of protein, you know, kind of like put it into, you know, right perspective. So this isn't really any particular field right now. It's basically conditioning this mulch. It's just regular old mulch that's been down for a year now, just over a year. It was last winter I put it down. Last fall maybe. And really nice mulch, I think. You know, I want to say it had manure in it, but maybe it didn't. The guy said it was just pine, or not pine, just wood, chipped up wood chips. But it smelled like it had a little bit of manure in it, which I thought was fantastic, you know, but maybe he thought I didn't want manure or something. But anyways, right now it's just kind of building it up the soil. And then, you know, when I come back, you know, maybe like every spring, plant some kind of nitrogen fixer out here. If I can't get any nitrogen fixer to actually stick, you know, those clovers are supposed to be perennial, but they weren't. They reseeded, but the new plants died. You know, I think that was just because it was a drought. But you never know. Maybe these will reseed, you know, maybe the birds won't take after them. I got that much left. Save. You know, each little bean will turn into a plant that'll make 30 new beans. So it's kind of like it'll be right there, turn into a whole Ziploc, you know, and then with a whole Ziploc I can plant an entire field. So it's like one season away from actually being able to plant pasture. See if my coffee's ready, and then do those. Start to sprinkle a little bit. So take a break right now. Starting this run with the millet. Never had millet. Let's say something I would like. Can't hurt having it. Looks like it's some kind of a tall grass on the pictures. Well, the picture on the bag. Oh, I got that little area over there. What about? Make that the millet area. So it's kind of a wasteful way of spreading, doing this topical broadcast, but it's a fast way of doing it. And doing such a large area with so many different seeds and things. The birds and mice probably won't find or get to them in time, you know. Some of these are gonna make it to germination. Just a question of whether or not it'll stay wet enough. Last spring it dried out. It was about like this, early spring, and then it just kind of, one rain a week or something for spring, and then 2 months no rain, for the summer. That wasn't enough. But getting these out now, it's not even officially spring yet. Still, maybe a week from spring in a week, like 6 or 7 days until spring starts. So maybe there'll be enough rain. So this is definitely my millet area. I don't got any clovers over here. Oh, a little grasshopper. They're in the pile of poopies. Got some nice fertilizers. That's a mung bean. Mung bean. And with poops. Just doing a general broadcast. I remember last year, I put a fair amount. There's a little hole. Nothing really sprouted in that hole. I thought it would be a good hole. I could collect moistures. Now the wrens are getting unhappy. But then I think that wren nests over there in that thing. So maybe he's wondering why I'm so close to the thing. Stick pile. He's happy now. I'm back up here. Still can't believe one of those wrens nested right at the shack in my cinder block that got right around the cooking fire. That was just insane. Probably a good thing, get some, if it's a grass, looking at that, it looks like some kind of a tall grass, like a wheat almost. But instead of having big wheat berries, it's just these tiny little seeds. Well, they're not tiny, but tiny compared to wheat. Yeah, I'm not planting any wheat. Wheat would just, what do you call it, use up the nutritions in the soil. And so are these couscous. Wait, what is this? Millet. So is this millet probably. But kind of, might as well. I've already done wheat. I haven't done millet yet. I don't even know how it looks. It's kind of like, be cool just seeing it. Yeah, but then it's like, mankind wanting to establish its own, mankind wants to establish its own reality outside of actual reality. It's kind of like it should be left up to nature, and nature being kind of the visible side of God. It's kind of this is the environment and the rules and the systems and all that He set up for us. And it's kind of more brutal to let nature have its way. but it's the best way. You know, it shouldn't be up to a person, you know, whether or not to let a child live or die, or, you know, with this coronavirus, you know, whether or not to treat a person or be like, oh, I can't help you. You know, it's kind of let nature do its thing. You know, and then with nature, you get like the whooping cough comes through or something and kills a bunch of people. And it's like, you have like 8 children, you know, and the cough comes through and kills off 2 of them. There's 3 of them or something, you know. And that is like really rough, that kind of a loss. But it's having that loss that makes you appreciate, you know, your children more. You know, those children appreciate you more. You know, you see, you know, just how fragile life is. You appreciate it more. And it's kind of the end result, you know, you end up with 2.5 kids that make it to adulthood or something. You know, yeah, it seems to me it's like, be nice having some mustard. So I'm gonna second guess nature and be like, perhaps mustard should grow around here. You know, it's like, maybe one of these back hard. And you're holding the camera to open it. These are some tiny seeds. Yeah, probably like 1 million seeds right there. I'm gonna keep doing this as my salad area. To scatter these. I'm not gonna bother saving any of them. So I already got a established set. I didn't collect any seeds from those ones last year. I always could. I really don't need too much more mustard in that corner. It cooks so well. Yeah, it's a hassle collecting seeds if you're being real intricate with it. Trying to open up each little seed pod and trying to clean out the seeds, you know, get the husks separated from the seeds. But you don't need to. And really, it's if it's unpleasant, you probably shouldn't be doing it. You want, it's kind of like Bob Ross, the joy of painting. You know, you want to find the joy of seed gathering, which would be like at the end of the season. Gathering up some mustard for just dried mustard leaves. Maybe some stews or something. Maybe in some rice rolls or something. And they got the seed pods on them, you know, so you're just picking the whole plant, shoving it in a bucket to let it dry out, a garbage can to let it dry out, and once it's dry, give it a shake, you know, all those seeds will fall off. Well, not all of them, maybe like 20% will fall off, into that garbage can, and you're wasting all this 80%. But you just cut up what you want for your dried mustard greens, and then you just take the rest of your scraps, which has the 80% still attached, and scatter those around, you know. So you've already scattered those seeds, and you got your 20% here, you know, and you got your dried mustard greens. You know, doing it some finding the pleasant way of doing it, you know, a balance of productive and enjoyable. Oh, look. This is clear as the sun. Some kale. Paca. I'm gonna go back over here for this one. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, I think I'll have some kale. I think I'll have some mustard. Even though it doesn't grow. But it ends up, you know, so I think it was like 40 pounds of lettuce it would take to equal 2,000 calories. And I don't even know if that's possible to eat 40 pounds of lettuce. And when you start stepping outside of nature, like if you're just eating your Japanese honeysuckles, it's like 40 pounds of honeysuckle leaves a day to equal 2,000 calories. So basically you're maybe getting 300 calories, 500 calories a day caloric intake, living off of the natural foods. And it's like, oh, you no longer have to worry about heart disease and diabetes and being overweight. And you don't have to worry about tooth decay and all of these cancers, you know, like the colon cancer from your nitrates, from your meat productions. You know, it's kind of like, it seems like, oh, I need some kale because it's whatever, you know, or I need some mustard. But basically what you're saying when you say that is, I need these problems. I need these issues. You know, I need to tempt myself. I need to have these ailments. You know, it's kind of like, you don't need any of these things, you know, and, you know, if you're just to live off the rules of nature, then it's a lot harder. You know, you're going to bed hungry and you're tired. You move really slowly. You can't think clearly, you know. And I got a bunch of kale seeds already. Packets of kale and other things. And I'm pretty sure I got a lot of Ziplocs. I got this big, huge Ziploc full of kale somewheres. I haven't finished digging through my tub yet. I'll dig through my tub later. But this will be kind of just the first pass on my seeds, because I still haven't found the lettuce seeds and things. I don't know where I put them. Oh, well, this is some more kale. I'm going to be creative with this. I'm going to put this bit of kale. On this little ridge. So this is kind of like I was harvesting seeds from the kale, like one main thing, and maybe a small later harvest or a small earlier harvest apart from that main harvest of seeds. And it's like I already put away the seeds from one of those harvests when I did the other harvest, which is why I got like 2 bags full of them. You know, it's kind of like, you know, each plant is different. If you transplant a kale plant, it's going to grow slower than one that's stayed in the ground, you know, because of the shock from that transplant. So planting a particular area, take maybe 5 of those plants, put them over there. These ones are going to go to seed first, and then those ones over there go to seed later. That's probably what happened with those kales. Moved some of my kales. Some radishes. If it stays wet enough, these might reseed. If not, they'll, you know, go to seed and then die out. But maybe they'll reseed. I've had them reseed in Washington, but none of my ones. I'm just gonna spread them out over here. Maybe in this lower area. Stays pretty wet. And radishes grow fast. So I could maybe have them reseed and grow again by the time the dry summer starts. If throw some up there. That's getting crazy. If it's not too dry of a summer. This is a couple million, maybe, mustards. I don't even know where I want to put these. That area's got a lot. Yeah, I might as well just put them out here. You got like yellow mustard and brown mustard. I would think that these would be considered brown mustard. These are big leaf mustard. Grown for their leaves as a leaf food more than their seeds as a seed food. For mustard seeds, for mustard, you know. So they're not really made for making mustard. So you call it a food plot. People that maintain their land for hunting or for animals would clear a section kind of like this and then plant clovers or wheat, you know, and that becomes food for the animals. The animals graze on it. Alfalfa. And then they hunt the animals. You know, so you want to give the animals food and shelter and water and minerals and other things, you know, and it attracts them, but it also helps them thrive. You know, the population does better. And then they congregate there. What's this? Oh, last bit of beans I'm going to plant. I got a lot of these, that's why I'm planting these. These are from bulk foods, you know, like bulk food bin at Winco over in Washington. The Walmart here in town, well, not in town, but the Walmart in town near me doesn't have bulk food bin, but I heard someone there. I've never been in a Walmart that had one. Heard someone in the store once ask an associate if they had where the bulk foods bins were, and the associate was like, oh, we don't have those in the store. We used to, but we got rid of them. So I'm guessing that there are Walmarts that do have bulk food bins where I could get beans like this in Nashville. You know, but instead of getting 4 beans that are 4 years old, get some beans that are 1 year old. Kind of reset my clock, basically, when I'm in Nashville. Yeah, but really it's kind of what I personally enjoy the most is just walking around and collecting things, and you burn a lot of energy doing that. But, you know, this area, you know, it's kind of a productive area, being on the lake / river. Probably more productive now that mankind has turned it into a lake, and that they raise and lower it, you know, the water level, than back when it was just a dam, or back when it was just a river. Granted, I might see like manatees and things, you know, sharks or something, you know, they might swim up from the ocean up the Mississippi and end up over here, you know. It's kind of like, this is the Tennessee River. General mix of flowers and things. Some kind of people foods. Dill, leek, coriander. Some weeds, chickweed, lamb quarter, wood avens, common mallow, St. John's wort. So, oh, and vetch. These are all edible and useful, like St. John's wort, antidepressant, common mallow, make marshmallows out of. Lamb quarter is just really healthy. Chickweed is good for salads. Vetch is good. Jewelweed is anti-itch, fungal, self-heal, biotic, snowberry, berries for the skin. Some regular flowers, no particular use. Hollyhock, black-eyed Susan, trillium, lupine, and some more flowers, but with use. Poppy, from milk of the poppy, anti-painkiller. Canna indica, it's a starchy root for starch. Potato leaf, eat it. Chamomile for the tea. Nasturtium, the whole thing's edible. Valerian, the root for sleeping, and for probably like milk of the poppy. Like, it'll, if you do enough of it, it should take you places. So various amounts of those things mixed in there. I'm gonna scatter those. These are things I like, so I'm gonna scatter them around upper area. Or I can monitor them and see them. Good to have a lot of seeds broadcasting by hand, just right on the surface. Chances are 90% aren't gonna make it. And some of these, like the hollyhocks, they're just too tall. They just tip over. But might as well try, see what they do. Maybe they'll do better in this environment than in Seattle. These are all from Seattle. Tiny little bit left. That's like a couple thousand seeds. A lot of tiny seeds. Yeah, life is awesome. Like, living creatures. How abundant it can be. Just lay dormant until the time's alright. And then there's this thing. This is the bad side of life right here. The mole digging through. Been giving the moles juicy fruit, which does the trick. But there's just so many moles around. They're kind of good for breaking up compacted soil. But this isn't compacted. So all they're really doing here is eating my worms and roots. Okay. Easy peasy. That's how you do it. These are the big oaks down in hand pump well. Up there's the house. And this is panther cap, Amanita pantherina. It's like 4 years old. And I dehydrated them. Dehydrated them for consumptions. Psychoactive. They got two components, two chemicals in them, and they break down over time. You know, so it's like they're a spring and a fall blooming mushroom. In Seattle. These are from Seattle. These are spring bloom from Seattle. I also got some fall bloom over there. And it gets kind of wild in the fall. This is kind of, they're good for a few months. And then they start going bad. You know, not going bad, but they lose their potency. Instead of one mushroom, it'll take 4 mushrooms, you know, kind of. With these right here, it would probably take let's see, I don't even know, probably something like 6 or 8, maybe 10 full mushrooms to get a mind-altering state going. But at that point, you'll be getting nausea going. It'll be making you nauseous, you know, eating that many of them. So, they're really no use anymore. They're dehydrated, so they may not be good at all. If these were fresh and I wanted to do this, I'd blend them up with some water in a blender, maybe give it some sugar, and then I would pour that blended out milkshake around the base of these trees. But I'm not optimistic about this. So most of these are tulip poplar. This looks like an oak. These pair with this particular strain from Seattle. Pairs with ponderosa pine and does a spring bloom, whereas in other spots they're like a fall bloom, and they pair with oak trees. Symbiotic relationship with the trees. So the species in general can live with oaks, but I'm not sure if this particular subspecies can, since it's a spring bloom from ponderosa pines. But might as well, since got them. So these are actually kind of valuable, you know, like this bowl, maybe like $90. Well, I was selling them for. So it could be like a nice little cash crop. So they're psychoactive. They're not hallucinogenic. It's not a controlled substance. It's just, I like to think of it as a medicinal, using it mildly, you know, as a stress reliever. But you take enough of them, go on a voyage. It'd still be, I guess, nice having a little stress reliever tea, but doing a natural lifestyle like this out here, you really don't need stress relief. Do it on these 2 oaks. The last bit of it. It's kind of a lifestyle out here that just naturally stress relieving. But once you start living in the city, society, people, and this kind of schedule, you know, you don't get enough sleep and you do routine tasks, you know, like too much of the day, and you know, those are just the conditions of normal people. Societal makes you need some kind of anti-anxiety, stress relief. But I might as well just spread them. They've been sitting around the last 4 years or so. I'd hate to throw them out because it is nice having that stress release tea. This is start of the Mississippi right here. So it stays wet and shaded, which is similar conditions to Seattle. It's kind of not much direct sun and a lot of moisture. So maybe they'll take. If they don't take, oh well, you know, I'm not disappointed at all. No loss, you know, but if they do take, it's like a nice little bonus feature. So I was planting the spring mushrooms. Almost forgot to give it the pizza. Nah, this is a bunch of eggshells. I'm going to crunch these up a little bit more and spread them out there. In general, put the eggshells in my poo pile, you know, routinely, and I spread it around these beds, and I spread it out there. I got this. This is actually 13, 13, 13. And I just put some in. I just filled up this jug, dispenser jug. I got that. That's kind of a hassle. Maybe wasps, paper wasp nesting in here. There were last year. Nope. Something knocked their little hive thing down. And I guess, yeah, I thought that they had continued. I guess they just stopped when their hive thing fell. I think that they would still let them be there, but I guess they're just a little too vulnerable. So I've fertilized this maybe 3 times last year. This is like a stays fed for a while, slow dispensing. So it's not critical. Too often. Nice having these things, these tall plants up. This is one of the mustards right here. During the winter, because the seeds stay on them a little, and the little birds can just perch on the stick and eat the seed. But if you weed whack all these things down, And then the seeds, just rot out or go into the soil and the birds can't find them. So it's kind of like a free bird feeder. Granted, the rabbits missed that one. The rabbit food's better. Eggshells are nice because they break down over time. And it's like roughage for worms. But what do you call it? I can only do so much poop. And there's only so many rabbits. So I need to supplement and get poop from off-site. And I'll sprinkle it around. Like normal people do. Yeah, so I mean, I shouldn't have animals. Kind of like, this is my cage right here. If I need a rabbit to set out one of my have a heart live catch traps for a rabbit and collect a rabbit that way, No need to pen the thing up and, keep them in cages, so let them run around and do their own thing. And then you just set a trap to collect one when you need it. But kind of nice having the poop from the animals spread around. Granted, it makes things smelly, but not too bad. Yeah, so break up those eggshells and get those going. This one's a bit awkward. Probably put it in a bowl. That's a hassle. I wanna see where I left off. I ran out of eggshells last time I was doing this. I don't know where I left off. This looks like a good spot. They break down real easy when you crunch them in your hand. Just want to let them dry out. And they're like good roughage for the worms and soil critters. Good sources of food for them, as well as the plants. I like broken yolks, so I smush my yolks with the eggshells. I don't want raw egg on my spoon. So there's yolk on the inside and outside. Well, I guess it's egg whites on the inside. Then on the outside of the shells, I got egg yolks and egg whites. So there's a little bit of protein. If a mouse or something needs calcium, you can always chew on it. Like when squirrels get calcium deficiency, it's real bad. I think they lose like motor skills or something. Not good. This was, I don't know, a couple hundred eggs. Been doing 3 eggs a day for breakfast for a while. So, 1 month is 100 eggs. So this box right here was probably two to 300 eggs. I want to say 300 eggs, but that just doesn't seem like it was. Beautiful. Yeah, that's how I like to do my farmings. Just casual stroll, testing things out, being bent over, digging holes. That's just too rough on the back and all that. I'm going to be doing a lot of raised beds probably, just so I don't have to be bent over. I can be standing. I'm going to do them with a liner full of my log piles, so that that bottom 2 foot with the liner will hold water, retain the water, and then just kind of wick up to the upper levels of the soil, so I don't have to water it as often. It'll be kind of like a big pond, you know, like a little 2 foot deep pond full of water, you know, like at the bottom of the thing, you know, and it won't be water, it'll be saturated logs and wood, you know, which is basically water with form, you know. And these should be pretty well decomposed by then, you know. This is like 5 years from now, you know. Really won't be worth using them as firewood at that point, but perfect for using them for raised beds. Filler, you know, like water logs, filler water logs, you know, for raised bed. Yeah, so that's it for this one now.